Hello everyone, welcome to Deadside. On today's video, we're going to be showing you the first step of base building, which is land claims. We're going to show you what's required for it, how to get the materials, and then how to actually make the claim, and then place it so that you can actually begin building a base in Deadside. Stick around. All right, let's get started. So the first step that you want to do is open your inventory. If it's the standard keybinds, you'll actually just press tab. And then what you'll notice is at the top left-hand portion of the screen, you'll have two options, ground and craft. So motion over to the craft screen and then scroll down into the base building section. And the first item there is land claim. So this is what is required for actually building a base. You have to do the land claim first, and then it will allow you to begin building the base items inside of this. Now, what you'll notice though for the land claim is it does require wood planks. You can find these or make these on your own. It does require nails. It requires a hammer and a saw. So if you're looking to gather wood and make your own planks, not actually just finding the wood planks on the ground, you will also require an axe to make this happen. So basically, you need all the tools and you need nails and then the wood to get it done. If you have already found all the tools, great. If not, you can go to the trader that sells the recoverables and the tools and actually buy them there. So I'll show you now. If you go up to the trader that sells these, under the section called tools is where you will find an axe, you'll find the hammer, the saw, and the nails. So basically everything you will need to actually build this land claim except for the wood, which we can go get that from any tree outside of the safe zone. If you try and hit a tree inside the safe zone, it won't actually allow you to collect wood. So make sure you have an axe, costs 5,000 if you don't have one already. The hammer, the saw, and the nails, again, you can do that after we have wood ready. But first, let's go gather some wood. Okay, so I've put all of my other inventory back in my stash. So I now only have the axe. And I did actually bring out my jacket, pants, vest, and bag just to give me enough inventory space to carry the logs and the wood and all. One thing you can do is actually carry a saw with you if you choose to, so that way you can actually go ahead and convert the logs into planks here on site instead of having to go back, because basically logs are 2 for 1. So it takes 2 logs to create 1 plank. So if you do that now, you're actually maximizing your inventory instead of filling it up with logs here. Once you make it back, converting it into lumber and only actually having half of your space utilized. But I'm actually going to go ahead and just leave my saw behind just to show you here for the video. I am still inside the safe zone. So if you notice in the bottom right hand side of the screen, you see where it has the no gun icon. So if I actually try to chop a tree here, you notice nothing's happening. I'm not gaining any wood. Nothing's going into my inventory. So as I mentioned, you do have to go actually outside the safe zone. So if you notice in the top left, it does say unsafe zone now. And if I walk up to a tree and I start to hit it, you'll notice the little log screen, bottom center of my screen pop up. The little log icon, not log screen. The log icon pops up, and for every 2 strikes on the tree that you give is when it will actually give you logs. Keep in mind, 4 logs turn into 2 planks. So it is a 2 for 1 type of deal. So I'm going to stand out here for a minute, fill up my inventory with logs, and I'll see you in just a second. All right, so my inventory is now full of lumber. We're going to run back to our inventory, to the actual safe zone, to the stash, and we're going to actually grab our saw so we can start converting these into planks. Okay, we're back to the trader. So I am going to go ahead and get my saw out of my stash, and it needs to be in your inventory to be able to craft the planks. Another thing to note, now granted this is, day 2 of release for the early access, so things could change. So if it's different once you're playing it and it doesn't drop it on the ground, that's good. But for right now, when you do craft something, it does actually drop it directly onto the ground. It does not place it in your inventory, even if you have an open slot. So be sure if you're standing out in public and there's other players running around, they would be able to pick your goods up off the ground before you have a chance to grab it if you are still crafting multiples. So definitely pay attention to that. But go back to the craft tab. We're going to scroll up now, and above the base section is materials. And for wood planks, you just click on the craft button. And what it will do is it, again, requires the saw and logs, but then for every 2 logs, it makes 1 plank. And if you notice down here is where it is actually on the ground. And now that I've used 4 logs, I've made 2 planks, and I can put that up into my inventory. You could have done that if you already had a slot. But I'm going to finish these up and turn all of these now into planks, which takes just a few moments. Okay, so all of our logs are converted into planks, and as you see here, it is half of our inventory space. So as I mentioned, once you collapse them down or convert them into lumber, planks, it actually takes up half the space as logs. So if you carry a saw with you, as I mentioned, you could go ahead and do this while you're outside of the safe zone in the woods making the planks, so that way you can save the time instead of now having to go back and get more logs and continue to convert them. But now what you can do, this isn't required for the actual land claim piece, so we're not going to really focus on it, but you can go ahead and now convert these into beams or plywood, which is utilized for other base building functions, but we're not going to look at that now. What we need right now are nails and a hammer, so let's go grab that. Okay, so we have the gathered materials, which is the saw, the hammer, nails, and lumber. It does only take 4 planks, so I've actually put the rest over here in my stash, and it does take 10 nails, but we do have a larger stack. That's perfectly fine. So now all you have to do is click craft on the land claim, and it will go ahead and craft that. Keep in mind it does place it on the ground. So as I mentioned before, make sure you do pick that up off the ground pretty quick if there are other players around. So we're going to place that in our inventory, and now all we need to do is go find a place to put it. Now keep in mind there's a couple things. Number one, you can only place it in certain locations. If you read the little description, it has to be a certain distance from settlements, roads, and other bases. So make sure there's not much around when you do place it. And secondly, if you do not log in for 7 days, so if it's been 7 days since your last login, the land claim and everything inside of it basically will be deleted. So you will lose your base, you will lose your contents and everything else. So if you are going this route of building a base, make sure you're logging in at least once a week, so that way all of your stuff doesn't get deleted and you lose it. Let's go find a good place for it. All right, guys, so we found a good place that I think will be a good spot for our future base. It's kind of out in the middle, open of this area. I won't say what server we're on, but if you actually see here on the map, I'm pretty much straight down from the northern settlement. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Basically, there's no roads, there's no towns, there's no POIs near me. But what I have done is I've chosen here on this grid line. So if you notice, it's kind of like the 2 squares down. So it's almost split directly in the middle of the map, and it's kind of 2 squares down in between these two, which I think is going to end up being a great place for one. So if you hit tab, go back to your inventory, you go to your land claim, you right click on it and you choose use. What you will notice is if it is in a good place, the sign is going to light up with a green outline, and it lets you place it anywhere here. If we've chosen an area that's not a good place and won't work, it will be red, and it gives you that box with the description saying that it's not a good zone for it to be placed in. Once it's there, you can rotate with your left and right click, so that's when it will spin around and all. If you hold shift, you can actually raise it out of the ground and everything to make it a different height. So we're going to kind of put it right here on the zone, and then if you tap the F key, it will start building it, and there is our land claim. So just like that, we're done. This is kind of like the X marks the spot. So this is our base now. And if you hit tab, if you hit your M key, what you will notice is now on here, we do have the indicator for a base. So this little thing right over my head that says base, it is now showing on our map to let you know that we've built the base zone and it's now ready for construction. So realistically, we can go in between either north or south settlements. I'm actually split pretty close. A little bit closer to north than south by 0.1 kilometer, but right there in the middle, which will be great for some of these other missions. It's a good staging area. It helps us split in between so we can go to either one when gathering materials and some of our stuff left in the stash. So ultimately, I think it'll be a great place, and I appreciate it. Thanks so much, everybody, for sticking around. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any other questions, though, about base building or the land claims, please leave them in the comments below. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button so you'll be around for future content like this for Deadside and all other games. We appreciate it so much, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.